Hey, Daniel.
What? Who said that? Who are you?
It's Kim from 404 Parts. You know that isn't charging, right?
But my car came with wireless charging.
Newer phones use a different wireless charging system than what was installed in GM vehicles prior to 2018.
Well, that stinks. So what am I supposed to do? Plug it in like it's 2012 or something?
Nope, we got you covered. Look at the phone icon at the top of your screen. Do you see that lightning bolt? We just upgraded you to wireless charging to work with your newer phone.
What? That's amazing. So you're saying I have wireless charging now that actually works?
Yep.
Well, what if I want to get a bigger phone later? There's not a lot of room in there.
Don't worry, the mat has been redesigned to fit larger phones.
Wow, that's awesome.
By the way, nice suede.
Hey, what can I say? It's all from 404parts.com. Alright, so it looks like wireless charging is finally here, and I'm sure you have some thoughts, and I'm gonna address those real quick. Your first thought is probably, Daniel, I've already got wireless charging in my car, and it doesn't even work. Plus, my phone doesn't even fit in there. Alright, well, guess what? This upgrade does make it work. I remember when I first got my wireless charging iPhone because, yeah, I know Samsung people, you got wireless charging first. But when I got a wireless charging iPhone, I threw it in there, I was so excited, and then it didn't work. Turns out that the new phones use the Qi charging technology, which is a higher output. And when they made this wireless charging back in 2015, it just didn't do that. So this upgrade has the Qi charging capability, so it will charge modern phones. Now, what about fitment? Okay, the mat that's in there, it's designed to fit the phones from 2015, but now phones have gotten so big, so you get an upgraded mat that's bigger and fits most phones. I'm gonna show you later how it fits most of the popular phones on the market. But if you've got a giant case, you may still be out of luck. I mean, the Q box is only so big, so there's not much we can do about that. Now, if you are an avid CarPlay or Android Auto user, you have to stay connected and wired. As you saw in my last video, wireless CarPlay doesn't really work too well. So in that case, wireless charging isn't great for you. But if you're a Bluetooth user or just listen to Google Maps or something instead of looking at it, or just using your maps built into Q, then this wireless charging is definitely a good upgrade for you. Now, another concern I had was, well, cockpit cleanliness, right? I talked about that in my Q upgrade video. It's clean, there's no clutter, there's no wires running around. I want it nice and clean like it came out of the factory. And so I really liked having Apple CarPlay plugged in the center console under my armrest, and my phone was out of sight, and if I really needed it, I could reach in there and get it, although remember, we're not supposed to do that. But, you know, I understand, sometimes you're at a stoplight, you need to look at something on your phone that's not on the Q screen with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Fine. So you look at your phone real quick. And putting it in the Q cubby doesn't sound like a good idea because you've seen how slow that door is, right? I mean, look at it. Okay, I slowed that down. It's not really that slow. But in practice, I found out it can actually be as fast or faster than putting it in the cubby hole. Getting in the car with a wired connection means getting in and opening the console, plugging in your phone, and then closing the console before your hands are even free to start the car, and this takes about 8 seconds. However, going wireless with the Q storage compartment, you can get in, put your phone in there before the doors even open, start your car, and get the door closing and move on to your next task immediately, and it takes less than 7 seconds. Now that's not a lot of savings, but in the end, you can see the Q isn't that slow. You can even save more time by leaving the Q door open when you park, and then it takes less than 4 seconds. So now I really like throwing it in the cubby. I'm utilizing the space that Cadillac intended, and it's pretty fast actually when I need to look at my phone at a stoplight or something. At a stoplight, remember, and still watch out for cops, they'll get you. So now you're totally wireless, but if you really want to have quick access to your phone, maybe the better thing for you is a Proclip mount with wireless charging built in. Check out Previews and Vlogs. He did an episode where he showed you how to have a wireless charging Proclip mount. And I love that mount, but I'd rather have the clean cockpit feel and put my phone away completely instead of having something mounted on the dashboard. All right, enough talking. Let's get to the install. You'll see it's pretty easy. It should only take you about 10 or 15 minutes. I'm also gonna cover different sizes of phones and such and how they might fit into this wireless charging upgrade. Let's get to it. swapping out the wireless charging unit isn't even that hard, so I'm not even going to give you a 30-second overview. First, open the console and remove this rubber mat. Inside, you'll see there are two T15 torque screws in the back left and right corners. You'll want to use a T15 bit on a long extension, at least 7 or 8 inches, I would say. I think this is a 12-inch extension. It makes it so much easier. I tried to use a T15 socket, but it was so wide that it made it difficult to get down in that tight spot. Once those two screws are out, you can grab the charging unit and pull it slightly towards you, and then the forward section of it will lift up. But it won't come out all the way because it's still connected with the electrical connector in the back. It's hard to see, but reach back there and use your thumb to press on the one end of the connector that has the release clip. Once it's out, you can see it here in the back. Here we have the original charging mat and charging unit. There are 4 T15 screws. We need to remove those screws simply so we can use them to attach the new charger to the new base. Take your new charging base and your new charging unit and screw it in with the 4 screws that you just removed. Although your new wireless charging unit should have the cable pre-inserted into the unit, in case it doesn't, it's a little hard to get in there, and the best way to do this is to remove the red clip on the new harness that came with it. To do this, I use this small pick to push the red clip outward while I lift it on the black section. This just makes it a little easier to plug this into the back of the charger. It's a tight fit, that's all. But like I said, most of these units should come pre-plugged in, but with this demo unit, it wasn't. Now, along with the new charging mat, your unit is ready to install. With the new wiring harness, there's quite a bit of extra cable, but that's no problem. It just makes it a little easier to plug it into the original connector in the back of the Q system. Then you can try to tuck that connector into the hole that's in the back of the Q system as much as you can. Otherwise, any leftover wire can just be put under the charging unit itself. There's plenty of room. Then go ahead and put those 2 T15 screws back in the rear left and right corners. Having a magnetic extension and/or magnetic tips really makes this job a lot easier because the screws tend to want to fall off. Now the new wireless charger is installed and you can put the new charging mat inside. It's totally okay to use the old charging mat if that fits your phone better, but it's a little uneven in there. It doesn't really matter because it doesn't affect how it charges and no one really sees it. The new mat fits a lot tighter, but if you use a smaller phone with the larger mat, it may move off the charging platter and stop charging. Let's take a look at the different phone sizes. I have the iPhone 11 Pro, which is surprisingly smaller than most other phones out there, including the XR and Samsung S9, S10s, and the Plus versions of all the phones. Of course, I didn't have access to all these phones, so I made some scale cutouts just to see how they might fit on the various mats. If you're wondering about how well your phone will fit, you'll need to look up the size specs and compare your phone versus some of the examples I've used in this video. First, let's look at my iPhone 11 Pro. It fits in the old charging mat pretty well with some space to spare. But if I put it on the new mat, there's all this gap around here, and you can't have that gap because the phone will slide around while you're driving and move off the center of the charging pad, and then it will stop doing its wireless charging. Even with a case, my phone fits perfectly in the old one. However, like I said, the iPhone 11 Pro is actually smaller than most other phones out there, including the XR. And the XR is actually more suited for the larger mat. And here's an iPhone 8 Plus. It barely fits on the new mat, and with a case, of course, it's definitely not going to fit. It's those little nubs on the left side that make it a tight fit. Here it is in the Q system, and you can see that it's not quite laying flat. And this, with the iPhones, sometimes makes them not connect to the wireless charging. And if you've got a case, that's just not going to happen. And no, that's not my case. Here's an iPhone XS Max with a medium-sized case, and it definitely doesn't quite sit right on the new charging pad, but it's because of those little rubber nubs on the left side. When I put it like this, it still took a charge, but I can't imagine it's super consistent. Here is an S9, and the S9 almost fits in the old mat, but I still think it's better suited for the new mat. Plus, most people have a case, which would take up any of the slack. Now, I did come across somebody that had an S9 Plus with a medium case, and so I tried that out, and it didn't sit quite flush, but it would still charge even though it wasn't completely flush with the pad. And here you can see what the S9 Plus would be like without a case at all, and it just sits over those little nubs on the left side. So, can we modify this to make more room? I think so. These are real easy to cut off with a razor blade. So if you cut those off, you'll definitely have more room to lay flush, and if you really wanted to, you could cut these edges off to gain a few more millimeters for your larger case. And according to my measurements, that means you could fit a phone that was about 165 millimeters long into the Q system.
All right, what do you think? We now have a wireless charging solution for your Q system that actually works and fits your phone. I think it's really great. Now, if you have like a 2014-ish car that doesn't have wireless charging, you'll know because you don't have this sticker here. 404 Parts is considering making a conversion that allows you to have wireless charging, but it's not quite in the works yet, but you better believe it. When it comes out, I'll be making a video on it, of course. Now, unfortunately, we don't have wireless CarPlay or Android Auto available because those wireless dongles don't work. So wireless charging may not be for you, but if it is, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know when my next video comes out. Thanks so much for watching the Jet Fuel Only channel. I'll see you next time.
Do you see that? Like, what did I say? Look at the phone icon. Okay, I'll pretend to shake my head too. Like when I'm listening to you, but not really listening.
Well, no, because it's perfect.